Tercero medio, Unit 1, Video 2.
Esta es una guía rápida de símbolos dentro de las cápsulas. Cuando veas este símbolo, listen, tienes que escuchar atentamente lo que dice el tutor. Cuando veas este símbolo, watch, tienes que ver atentamente lo que aparece en la pantalla. Cuando veas este símbolo, repeat, tienes que repetir lo que dice el tutor. Cuando veas este símbolo, point, tienes que apuntar con tu dedo al lugar apropiado de la pantalla. Cuando veas este símbolo, your turn, significa que es tu turno para hablar. Si necesitas más ayuda, revisa el instructivo.
Let's talk. My first job. Hi there, welcome back. My name is Daniel and I will be your tutor for this lesson. Hi Sofia, hi Maria Paz.
Hi.
In the last video, we watched Valentina asking to different people about getting a part-time job. And I have a question for you. What is the preoccupation of Valentina's father if she gets a part-time job? Do you remember? Let's watch it again.
Matthias, should I get a job?
Yes, Valentina. You may learn financial skills, and you could earn some money. However, you may have less free time to see your friends. Maybe you could get a part-time job.
Dad? Grandma? What do you think? Should I get a part-time job?
No. There are so many drawbacks. You might have increased stress. You already have a busy schedule.
Also, you may have lower grades because you'll have less time to study.
Mr. Jose, could I ask for your advice? Should I get a part-time job?
Yes, that's an excellent idea, Valentina. There are a lot of benefits to employment. You may learn time management skills and specialized skills. It's great to have some work experience on your resume.
Where are you going, Valentina?
I'm going to a job interview.
Oh no! If you get a job, you may have less time for our band.
But it's part-time. And if I have a good salary, I could buy a new guitar.
That's true.
So, what is the preoccupation of Valentina's father if she gets a part-time job? That she may have lower grades? That she may have increased stress? Yeah, that she may have increased stress. Very good. Now, do you remember the benefits and drawbacks of having a part-time job?
Yes. The benefits are learn financial skills. Learn time management skills. Learn specialized skills.
And the drawbacks are have less free time. Have lower grades. Have increased stress.
Wow, good memory.
Let's learn.
Having a part-time job is not as simple as it looks, especially if you're a teenager.
Daniel, can I ask you something?
Of course.
Should I get a part-time job?
Oh, that's a good question. Everyone, listen. Should I get a part-time job? Let's break it into parts. Listen. Should I get? Repeat. Good. Should I get? Now, listen. A part-time job? A part-time job? Repeat. Excellent. Now, all together. Listen. Should I get a part-time job? Should I get a part-time job? Repeat. Excellent job. Should I get a part-time job? Very good.
There are benefits and drawbacks of having a part-time job, Sophia.
That's right, Maria Paz. For example, some of the benefits are: you may learn financial skills. Now, let's divide it into two parts. Listen. You may. Repeat. Excellent. You may. Now, listen. You may learn financial skills. You may learn financial skills. Repeat. Good. You may learn financial skills. Another benefit. Listen.
You may learn time management skills.
Repeat. Nice. You may learn time management skills. Now, talking about drawbacks. Listen. You may have lower grades. You may have lower grades. Repeat. Great! You may have lower grades. Another drawback. Listen.
You may have increased stress.
Now, repeat. That's right. You may have increased stress. Very good. Sometimes we want to connect two ideas. For this, we use connectors. For example, some people think that there are only benefits or only drawbacks. In this case, we use also. Listen. Also. Repeat. Good. Also. For example, only benefits. Listen. Sophia, the question.
Should I get a part-time job?
Now, attention. The response. Maria Paz.
Yes, you may learn specialized skills. Also, you may learn time management skills.
Now, your turn to say the response. Repeat. Excellent. Yes, you may learn specialized skills. Also, you may learn time management skills. Now, only drawbacks. Listen. Maria Paz, the question.
Should I get a part-time job?
Sophia, the response.
No, you may have lower grades. Also, you may have increased stress.
Now, your turn to say the response. Repeat. Nice. No, you may have lower grades. Also, you may have increased stress. Great. Now, some people think that there are benefits and drawbacks at the same time. In this case, we use however. Listen. However. Repeat. Excellent. However. Now, one example with one benefit and one drawback. The question.
Should I get a part-time job?
Listen. Yes, you may learn financial skills. However, you may have less free time. Repeat. Excellent! Yes, you may learn financial skills. However, you may have less free time. Another example, but now with one drawback and one benefit. The question.
Should I get a part-time job?
Now, listen. No, you may have lower grades. However, you may learn specialized skills. Repeat. Grades. No, you may have lower grades. However, you may learn specialized skills. Great job! Remember, we can link two benefits or two drawbacks using also, and we can link one benefit and one drawback using however.
Let's practice.
Let's have a conversation about benefits and drawbacks of having a part-time job. On the left side, we have 3 benefits. On the right side, we have 3 drawbacks. In the middle, we have 2 connectors. 2 sentences will appear on the screen using a benefit or drawback. Say the complete sentence using also or however. Let's practice. First, Sophia says the question and Maria Paz says the response.
Should I get a part-time job?
No, you may have less free time. Also, you may have lower grades.
Now, you say the question and Maria Paz says the response. Your turn. Great! Should he get a part-time job?
Yes, you may learn specialized skills. Also, you may learn time management skills.
Your turn. Nice. Should he get a part-time job?
You may learn financial skills. However, you may have increased stress.
Now, attention. Maria Paz will say the question and you will say the response. Let's practice with also.
Should I get a part-time job?
Your turn. Excellent. No, you may have lower grades. Also, you may have less free time.
Should I get a part-time job?
Your turn. Excellent. Yes, you may learn financial skills. Also, you may learn time management skills. Now, let's practice with however.
Should I get a part-time job?
Your turn. Yes, you may learn time management skills. However, you may have lower grades.
Should I get a part-time job?
Your turn. Good. No, you may have increased stress. However, you may learn specialized skills. Good job, everyone.
Let's talk.
We need your help. Matías, Valentina, Vicente, Pia, and Pascuala want to know if they should get a part-time job. They have a web page with their names and a description. According to the information provided, you need to respond. Let's practice with Sofia. Pascuala. She has lower grades and she is bad at time management.
No, you may have lower grades. However, you may learn time management skills.
Very good. Now, you respond. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, your turn. Matías. He likes free time and he has low grades. Your turn. Excellent. No, you may have less free time. Also, you may have lower grades. Pia. She's interested in finance and she is always stressed. Your turn. Great! Yes, you may learn financial skills. However, you may have increased stress. Vicente. He's interested in specialized skills and he is bad at time management. Your turn. Good job! Yes, you may learn specialized skills. Also, you may learn time management skills. Valentina. She's interested in finance and she likes free time. Your turn. Great! Yes, you may learn financial skills. However, you may have less free time. Good job! Thanks for helping. Getting a part-time job has its benefits and drawbacks. It all depends on our abilities and situations at home, at school, or with our families.
Should I get a part-time job?
Yes, you may learn specialized skills. Also, you may learn financial skills. However, you may have increased stress. Be careful with that.
That's true. Our health and well-being should always come first. See you in the next capsule. Bye.
Let's talk.